If you wanna find me, yeah, I'm in the front row. With my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place to be, yeah, I'm in the front row. Best place to be, yeah. If you wanna find me, yo, I'm in the front row. With my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. The best place to be, yeah, I'm in the front.
Welcome back to the In the Front Row YouTube channel. We are excited to talk Lakers. Well, maybe.
Are we?
Oh, Sheree is with me. And we have Danny back on In the Front Row. Danny, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be back. I'm a little bummed about the game last night, but you know, I think that it's going to be like the Portland series. 1 loss, not a big deal. They're going to turn it around. I'm saying Lakers in 6.
Let's get into it. The Lakers and the Rockets played game 1 last night, and a lot of people in Los Angeles were excited. They thought this was going to be an easier series possibly than the Blazers, but the Rockets came out and made a statement in game 1 with a 112-97 victory, a 15-point victory over the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, the Lakers. So, Shireen, we're going to come to you. I want your initial reaction of game 1.
I mean, the Lakers were never ahead, it seemed. Never, the whole friggin' game. And they walked back on transition. They weren't playing defense. People had wide open shots. You know, I think that the Beard and Russell came to play. And we're forgetting that they're LA boys. And they're playing the Lakers, and those guys weren't born in LA, but they're wearing the Lakers jerseys. And I called it. I said they would lose the first game. And I think a lot of it had to do with Alex Caruso. They didn't play him because he had foul trouble. They were playing Rondo. And I'm not putting Rondo down. He needs to get back in the groove of it. But Alex is the guy that turns on the afterburners. He's the one who will play out of his mind. And he's sitting on the bench with 10 minutes left, and we've never been ahead the whole time. So, honestly, this was a coaching thing for me. Alex, they put him in the final 2 minutes. He started stealing the ball and running for layups. And like, that should have been 10 minutes ago. Like, it wasn't working. So why do we keep going with it? But you know me, I called it. I said we'd lose the first game and then win the next 4.
Yep, Danny, we will come to you next. Your initial reaction on the game 1 loss by the Lakers.
You know, I think I was kind of, I wouldn't say scared, but I would much rather play Denver, who the Clippers are playing, than the Rockets, just because the Rockets there's a lot of variance with them. If they're on from 3, they could beat anyone. I mean, we saw that when they played Golden State. They were right there. Golden State with a stacked team, and it went to game 7, and they would have won it probably if it weren't for the fact that they went 0 for 26 at one point from 3. So as streaky as they are, they can win any game, but they can also shoot themselves out of any game. So no lead is too big. Unfortunately, last game, Lakers the lead was Rockets took a big lead, and Lakers it seemed like they had no counter moves. And I blame a lot of that on coaching, really. I'm hoping Vogel, I know he will, but I'm hoping he makes some good adjustments for game 2. I was really upset to see that we didn't utilize our big men, our size advantage. I feel like every time down, it should have been either a LeBron AD pick and roll, or LeBron in the post with AD at the wing or AD at the high post. And Lakers all season had been doing those pick and rolls, getting alley-oops. I didn't see any of that last game. And then I didn't like the fact that JaVale was starting. I think for this series, AD needs to be starting at center. If AD is starting center the whole series, AD at center, and then LeBron and AD are both bigger than anyone on that Rockets team. So you got 2 guys that can bully down low if AD's not taking fadeaways. And then another thing was Kuzma. I was really disappointed in the way Kuzma played. I felt like he was totally in his head. His defense just wasn't there. And he was struggling out there. And the Lakers need help. It can't just be 2 guys. And then they just got to hit open shots. Danny Green, this guy, we gave him $15 million, KCP, he's been playing well, but he's got to hit those open shots in these big games. And I think next game, they're going to make adjustments. They're going to slow down the tempo, and they're going to play some bully ball. So I'm not too worried. I think Lakers will win the next game and get it together.
Yeah, I don't think it's time to hit the panic button necessarily.
Right.
It's just one game. It's a 7-game series. And let's keep in mind the Rockets have had playoff issues, like you said, in the past, and it's game one. So I know it's the second round and the pressure is a little higher, but let's see if the Rockets can even, I guess, continue the momentum and into the later games when the series becomes a little more critical and elimination becomes noticeable. That's what I want to see. If that's the real test for the Rockets, to see if they ever are in those situations. Possibly we'll see as the series plays out if they can respond. With the Lakers, I don't think it's ready or time to hit the panic button quite yet. I think you still have LeBron, playoff LeBron, and I know I picked against him in the first round and not this round. I still
Right?
I still
Pick
think
Portland.
I still
Green,
think
how did you allow him to pick Portland?
He's allowed to do whatever he wants to do. He can look like a fool if he wants.
it was a very difficult decision between the. I thought that was honestly going to be more of a challenge for the Lakers, the Blazers, than it is the Rockets. I think they're two very high offensive teams. I think the Lakers will tighten up defensively in the second game. I think LeBron needs a game to kind of feel it out, and then it's playoff LeBron. You can always trust LeBron James to come through. I think the Lakers will win game 2. Shereen said they're going to win the next 4 after they lose game 1. So we'll come to you. What do the Lakers need to adjust in game 2?
Get in Russell Westbrook's head. Get in his head. Like that dunk on Westbrook was awesome, but where was it the rest of the game? So, look, we said it before. When the Lakers aren't shooting well, they're not going to win. And they were doing well all the way up to when they won. It seems like they're a back against the wall type of team, When they wanted to win the Western Conference, they were killing it. And then they took their foot off the gas and they were losing and their shots weren't going in. And then all of a sudden against Portland, they woke up in the second game. And then they took the next 4 games because they woke up and they were shooting. And Vogel had them shooting, 100 free throws before they got off the court. Like, they couldn't leave practice without making 100 missing your free throws is killer. But I don't know, like some of the calls they're always, in dispute. But, when LeBron went, there was 10 minutes left and he walked to the other side and sat and waited for a call to be made. I was like, what's he doing over here? Couldn't he do more in a huddle? Like, what was that about?
Yeah.
I was
something's
disappointed.
up.
I was disappointed in LeBron, actually, even though he had pretty good numbers, like he always does, because when the fourth quarter came around, I was thinking, okay, this is the time that superstars, guys that are being called the greatest of all time, better than Michael Jordan by a lot of people, step up. Those were the times that Kobe always stepped up and took control of the game in the fourth quarter. And so LeBron, I think he ended up with 0 points in the fourth quarter. I didn't see that aggressiveness.
We can't win if we're going to play like that.
Yeah, he's got to take over because he's the best player on the court. And so he needs to have the ball in his hands and he needs to take over in the fourth quarter. Close the game.
Maybe they lost on purpose.
We'll see in game 2. That's tomorrow on ABC. The Lakers and the Rockets game 2. One thing that was interesting, Frank Vogel did pull LeBron and AD very early in the fourth quarter. I know they were down by double digits, but
2.5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I thought he pulled the trigger a little bit early. I thought he could have let them, possibly make a late game run, but.
Well, then what happened? What happened when they put AC in there? He was like, Tasmanian devil.
I'm saying we'll see when the series becomes a little higher in pressure if the Rockets will continue to play well. We saw in Game 7, despite the win and the final play, James Harden did not play well offensively.
I told you they choked against the Clippers when I went 2 games.
I'm not worried quite yet, guys. We do want to talk about the Clippers, speaking of them, so we are going to move on really quickly.
Do we have to?
Yeah, the Clippers, a big Game 1 victory. So we're just going to briefly, because as we're taping, I believe, are about an hour from tip-off. But the Clippers and Nuggets, a blowout Game 1 victory for the Clippers. Is this going to even be a series?
I think it's going to be a series. Of course it's going to be a series. But I'm going to give my shout out early. Trez, congratulations. Like, we all know you're a beast here in the front row because we watched you all summer, last summer, working at the Drew League. And we have a whole new appreciation for you. And I was pulling for you. And it was so cool. Doc Rivers had Lou Williams, the 6th man from before, go take the trophy and surprise him in the I don't know if it was a locker room, but a room where they were all meeting, and Trez had tears in his eyes, and it was great. And if you look on his Instagram, everybody's congratulating him, and this is huge because no one ever talked about him. Now he's like the sixth man in the NBA. That's fantastic.
He's gonna get paid.
So on a personal level, I'm very happy for Montrez and Lou. I also know Lou, and he's a nice guy as well. But and Zubac, like I know a lot of the Clippers,
let me ask you
I
this.
still want the Lakers to win.
I don't want to cause any controversy here, though. Do you know Patrick Beverly?
Yeah, he's on that team
Is
too.
he a nice guy?
I don't know him.
Okay.
I know
Because
who
on the
he
court,
is.
I do not like Patrick
Oh,
Beverly.
I hate Patrick Beverly. No.
I'd love to have him on my team, but when
Yeah.
he was on the Clippers, I
No. No, and Meta World Peace, he was tweeting out, oh my God, two of my former teams are like, there's no and because he knows, Russell and Harden because they're from LA, right? And he knows them. But he's like, I'm like, no, you're a Laker. You won your championship with a Laker. You got to cheer on the Lakers. But
But
congrats to
the,
Montrez. But I don't want. I'm not the hugest Clipper fan.
speaking of Westbrook, I like the way that they defended him. Just play way off of him. Play way off. Force him to shoot outside. I think he's not a good outside shooter. He wants to force his way in the middle. And so I think not only does that get in his head when you're just playing way off of him and he misses one or two, but that's the right move. I mean, we don't want the ball in Harden's hands. Harden is just unstoppable. That guy is unbelievable.
Do you think the Clippers are going to sweep, Danny?
No, I don't think they'll sweep, but I can see them winning in 5, unfortunately. But
Okay.
I'm really looking forward.
You don't want to see him next? You don't want to see the Clippers next?
No, because I think that is the one team that could beat the Lakers in this series. And while that will be really fun to watch and it's going to be really intense and probably go 7, I don't know. Of course, the easier route would be the Nuggets, but
I will say this: with the Lakers, I wouldn't be worried about James Harden. Second of all, I think when it comes to the Clippers and Nuggets, Shereen and I both predicted 6 games that the Clippers would win. After game 1, I don't know if it will get to the 6-game mark. It was a blowout. If the Nuggets don't do something and make a coaching change or an adjustment, it's going to be a very difficult series for them. And that dinner bet with Fredo is looking very good for me after game 1. we have to wrap it up. Shereen, you already gave your shout out. I don't know if you want to give another one. But
No, that's fine. Shout out to Montrez.
Yeah, at the end of the show, Danny, we do a thing called shout outs here. You can shout out whoever you want. So the floor.
So is this like an advertisement I can do here?
If you want.
Okay, let me see what I got.
It's supposed to be heartfelt though.
Oh wait, he's getting.
All right, Dylan, you do your shout out. And
I
then
think he's coming back. Is he coming back?
yeah, he's back.
All right, you ready, Danny?
All right.
You can go ahead.
Cohan Group Insurance and Financial Services in Ventura, California. The best insurance
they're
you can
great.
get.
We use them.
Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Okay, Dylan.
Oh, this is a difficult shout out from. I'm trying to think where I want to go with this one. I'm gonna shout out again. I know I shouted her out last show, but I'm gonna shout out again Serena Williams because she's continuing her journey. She had a big 3rd round win today in the U.S. Open against Sloane Stephens, another American, a past Grand Slam champion as well. So it was a huge win. She got destroyed in the first set, but really came back and played well. And I love following tennis, so I want to bring that to in the front row. Serena Williams, a huge win. She's in to the 4th round, so that's going to be exciting to see if she can get guys major or Grand Slam number 24. It's going to be very soon. That's what.
Congrats to Serena.
Yeah.
Ellie's killing it. Look
Yeah,
at the Dodgers. The Dodgers are killing it.
I'm excited. I'm at playoffs though. That's when I get scared.
Yeah, but
regular
that's because
season.
the Astros are cheaters.
True.
And everybody thought Kershaw was washed up, but he wasn't. They were reading his signs. So
Astros are getting what was owed to
deserve.
them this year, what they deserve. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, we have to wrap it up here. Danny, thanks for joining us. You are welcome back.
Thank you guys.
Anytime. As you're
Appreciate it.
screen. Thanks for joining me as well. Fredo will be back soon, guys. We have to wrap up this segment, but we will be back soon. Go ahead and subscribe so you can get all those videos and hit the notification bell. Follow us on social media at In the Front Row LA so you can keep up to what we're doing and what our sports opinions are as the NBA playoffs continue in the 2nd round. I'm Dylan, guys. We'll see you next time.
wanna find me, yo, I'm in the front row. My 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. The best place to be, yeah, I'm in the front row. Best place to be, yeah. So what's colder than ice and even hotter than a flame? I'll be in the front row, chilling at a booth.